Hi guys, so come with me and making a Mediterranean chickpea soup. I soaked my chickpeas for about 2 hours. After soaking them, I put it to boil with a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of baking powder. While that was boiling, I started cutting my vegetables. I cut one large zucchini. I sliced about two large carrots. Obviously, I peeled the carrots, and all the vegetables in this video were pre-washed. I had to adjust my camera because my camera girl was slagging a little bit. But continuing with the carrots, like I said, I cut about two large carrots. I mix it in with the zucchini, just for flavor. And all these vegetables we're going to saute. After that, I started cutting about three large celeries. Celeries is amazing to bring out the flavor into the soup. I started dicing them as small pieces as you can. You guys remember, it has to be the smallest pieces as you can because these vegetables are going to be sauteed. I added my celery into my bowl with the carrots and the zucchini. Then I started cutting one large onion. I used the whole onion. I will have to say cutting onions is not my specialties. I always cry while peeling the onions, but white onions is always my preference when it comes to making any types of soup. So I try to also slice it or dice it, however you guys say it, into the smallest pieces ever because I personally do not like tasting my food with onion flavors. And again, I had to adjust my camera girl. She was just too close to me. She's getting a whole bunch of training when it comes to adjusting the cameras to get the better angle of, I guess, my hands. And excuse my fingers, I do have some chicken fingers. But continuing, like I said, I diced one whole onion, beautifully sliced. Once I finished with the onion, I did add the onions towards the bowl. I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit just because it was a lot of dicing and a lot of crying. Once that was done, I added it to my bowl. I went to check on my chickpeas. They were not ready, so I continued to boil them for a good extra 10 minutes. While that was boiling, I started dicing some squash. That also brings a beautiful, nice color to the soup. I like to leave the skin on just because I feel like that gives it a lot of flavor. And I will put that in a separate bowl. I started dicing a little bit of cabbage, just a small piece of cabbage. I do not like my soup with a lot of cabbage, even though cabbage is super healthy. Guys, now remember, you can actually also add some kale. I didn't have kale, so you will see in the video a little bit fast forwarding that I added some spinach. Once I chopped up my cabbage, I ended up cutting half of a tomato. The tomato is optional, but I also feel like it gives it a nice, beautiful color and a flavor. So I added that to my bowl full of vegetables that will get sauteed to the whole beautiful mixture. In a large pot, I did add about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, 1 spoon of butter. I added all my freshly cut vegetables. I saute them for good, I'll say about 5 minutes, just sauteing, letting all those flavors mix in together. Guys, I wish you guys can smell how amazing that smelled. I added a couple of bay leaves into the pot, some garlic, Italian seasoning. I started adding a little bit of paprika just for color, Dominican oregano, the best, some pepper, well, some black pepper and some kosher salt. I mixed that very well, just for the flavors to mix. And guys, look how creamy that looks. I did add a can of 15 ounce of tomatoes. Then I added my chickpeas. I mixed that for a good 2 minutes just for the flavors to mix in. And then I started adding 32 ounce of vegetable broth. I like the vegetable broth. First of all, it has a lot less sodium and it's super good for the soups. I added my squash, my cabbage that I had previously cut. I mixed that in. Again, adjusted my camera girl into the video. So I mixed that in for a good minute. Then I started adding some heavy cream. Now the heavy cream is very much optional, but I just feel like it makes the soup very much creamy. I added the spinach, and then after adding the spinach, I mixed that very well. I let that boil, and so far this is the finishing touch. You let it cook for an extra 10 minutes. Once officially done, you guys can eat this with a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top, some crackers, or you can simply eat it with nothing at all. So I hope you enjoyed.